everyone. Welcome to The Portfolio.
New York City is the fashion capital of the world. And while the fashion industry may seem all about glamour, behind the scenes, the competition is severe and brutal. It takes great passion, tenacity, drive, talent, and luck to succeed as a fashion designer here.
Today, we're very fortunate to have an amazing fashion designer and an even more incredible person whose career has taken quite a roller coaster ride over the past 2 decades.
Yes, we are in the studio of illustrious and veteran fashion designer GEMMA KAHNG.
GEMMA KAHNG used to make millions. Now, she's almost broke.
This collection, I really like the costumes from 18th century.
Wonderful to see you.
Hi. Nice to see you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you for
doing
coming.
This is a wonderful space. You're really very
It's a little bit messy. We're very busy.
Oh, it's all the creative energy. We
Yeah.
can feel it as soon as you walk in.
We feel like we have a built-in audience here too.
Oh yeah, and they're quiet. It's nice.
Best audience.
Gemma, I was very inspired by watching you on Sundance Channel's All on the Line with Josie. We wanted to bring your story to our audience, but first we want to start from the very beginning. Now, you were born in Masan, South Korea.
Yes.
How old are you? Now, what year were you born? If
Oh,
I may
yes.
We like to go right to the question.
I'm ageless.
So do you remember Masan?
No, I don't. I think my parents moved when I was like 2 years old. They always moved.
I heard that you had a nickname growing up as a child.
Yeah.
행운을 가져온 아이, child who brings luck.
Yeah, my name is
nickname.
Shingyong.
Uh-huh.
Shin, it means to believe.
Yes.
That is a word that all of us, my brother and sister, have. You know, we start the name is Shin, and my second word they gave me is Kyung, means to believe in celebration. Yeah, it was. I got that name because the day I was born, my grandfather was elected as a congressman. So
Oh my!
they saw me coming out and they were like so disappointed. Oh, it's another girl. They want to take a boy. And then they heard on the radio my grandfather was elected, so they were very happy.
So you came out first and then he was elected.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
I see. Now you said another girl, so you have a sister?
I have older sister. Yeah.
Is she in fashion as well?
No, she's what does she do? Plays golf every day.
Is she here in the United States?
Yes, she lives in Salt Lake City. She has a life of an American dream.
How old were you when you came to the United States?
I was 14. My father was professor at a university, and he was invited to teach at a small university in Michigan.
What was that like growing up in Michigan then? Did you speak English when you moved
Oh
there?
no,
Or
nothing. I think I learned to say in Japanese. Me and my sister are going to America, so we spoke there just in case we get lost on the way here, you know, in Tokyo or something. We changed the plane, and then English. I didn't speak any English at all.
What was an indicator that you had so much creativity inside of you?
I think, I always enjoyed doing things with my hand. You know, when I was growing up in Korea, my parents just assumed I was going to grow up and be a perfect wife. I never had any ambition to be anything else. You know, they teach me how to sew and cook, and you know, they want me to be pretty and they want me to be quiet.
Did you rebel against that, or were
No,
you
nothing.
accepting of it?
Whatever. You know, I'm easygoing. Like whatever. That's what I'm supposed to do. I just do that. You know, I want peace, right? So fashion and being creative is something that I discovered after I came here. I guess because I didn't speak English very well, and I mean, I didn't speak English at all. So it was very hard to take classes and, test, forget it. You know, I couldn't even understand the question, you know. So I was always very, very excited to look forward to my art classes.
Yes.
There I do whatever, you know, I don't have to speak anything, I don't have to understand what the teacher was saying. And I found out I was much better than anybody else in the class. I'm much faster and I can draw without so much effort. It was natural to me. So I thought, wow, you know, I can be an artist.
You grew up with, were there other Korean Americans in your neighborhood?
In Houghton, Michigan.
In-
I think there was one more family, and that was it. So I was just like dropped into American society right away.
Sure.
So
Quickest way
everybody,
to learn.
yeah, I think that was
Way to
good in a
learn,
way.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
and in the beginning, me and my sister was a little bit shocked, you know, and we were very isolated from the rest of the class. And we became very close because, you know, we are the only people we can talk to each other. But I think in a way, looking back, it was good to be like included with all the American friends, you know.
You were here as Gemma.
Gemma, yeah,
Kang.
Yep,
uh-huh.
And,
Yeah, it's my Catholic name. Yeah,
see.
yeah. My parents, they were Catholic, and all of us had our Catholic name. My brother Steve, my sister Rosa, and me, Gemma, and my younger brother John. So when we came here, we just used that name as our English name.
I see. Well, in August of 1991, the Wall Street Journal ran an article about you, and it was titled Gemma Kang Paper Dolls to Haute Couture by Barbara Phillips.
Yes,
And
yeah.
it says that when you were young, instead of playing with Barbie dolls, you made your own paper dolls.
Yeah, well, I didn't have any Barbie dolls. That was the main problem.
Wow, so
Yeah,
all this
we didn't.
creativity.
Yeah,
from
I
young
didn't have
age.
any dolls or toys, nothing. So I made my own.
I see.
Yeah.
Would you say that that sparked your interest into fashion then?
I guess so, without knowing. I was making the paper dresses all the time because I had to come out with all these ideas, just like I do now.
Right,
Same.
sure.
What's really interesting is that it seems like a lot of what happened to you when you were young was more by circumstance. You were forced into not being able to really speak English because you came to America, and therefore you discovered art to be something that you were really good at. And
Yeah.
then the same thing with the Barbie dolls. You didn't really have that, so then you were
I
able to
know.
create paper
Yeah.
dolls with dresses. And so then I guess afterwards you went on to the Art Institute in Chicago.
Chicago was the closest city from Michigan. I mean, I had to get out of there. It's a population 5,000 people. It's a small town of engineering school where my father was teaching. I really have no interest in engineering, and the place is really cold, you know. So Chicago is only like 10 hours drive. So when I turned 18, I didn't know English so much, but I know that in this country, when you're 18, you can leave your home. It's legal. so I packed my bags. I packed my bicycle, and I took a ride. And then I moved to Chicago by myself.
And your parents were
Wow.
okay with that?
They were also struggling with their own, you know, adjustment to this country. So I guess I don't remember exactly, but they liked the idea that I was going to school. I mean, they are very, very supportive in education. Of course, my father's a professor, so they thought that I was moving to Chicago to go to school, but you know, that didn't happen right away. But eventually, I did.
Now, at that time, did you think that you would eventually pursue fashion?
I wasn't 100% sure I was going to do fashion, but I also like to paint, and I also like sculpture, and you know, something artistic. It doesn't always have to be clothing. You know, I like to make things. So in the beginning, I was taking art classes. I did figure painting and soft sculpture, sculpture that I do with fabrics, and you know,
Yes,
so it's kind of
sure.
related to what I'm doing now. The third year, I had to make a final decision, and I still was not really convinced fashion was what I wanted to do, but I took a class in fashion history, and I learned about these great designers from the past, like Coco Chanel, like Yves Saint Laurent, Poiret, and I mean, you know, all these like designers from like 1900s and even before. And my God, I had no idea. We never had fashion in Korea. It was just dressmaking. You know, that was fashion. I didn't know fashion was like some type of art form, and designers making their own statement and having all this glamorous client and when I learned that, and I said, oh, okay, that's what I want to do now. Yeah.
And after you graduated, you ended up moving to New York City?
Yeah. I first I went to Europe for a couple of years. I mean, a couple of months. But living in Europe, it's very hard. I mean, I just barely spoke English, so I came back and I came to New York, and I've been here since then, and I love it.
You worked with Kathy Hardwick.
Yes, she's a Korean designer.
Yes, a Korean designer, and really had a fashion empire here in New York.
Yes.
Did you now? How did you meet her? How did that experience come about? And were you specifically looking to work with a Korean woman?
I'm not looking for any nationality. I was just looking for a job.
Sure.
And a friend of mine who went to same school with me happened to work with her, and she was no longer there, but she knew her and still kept the relationship, and she introduced me to Kathy. She thought that mainly Kathy would be interested in hiring me only because not only because I'm Korean, but because I graduated from the Art Institute of Chicago, which was the same school my friend graduated from. And I met her, and she decided to hire me right away, and that was my first job.
And Tom Ford was also working for her at the time? As a
Yeah,
designer?
after I left,
After
he
you
took
left.
my job.
Oh, he did? I see.
I'm just like so proud. Yeah, that was a very surprise. After I left Kathy Hardwick, I asked someone who knows Kathy if my position was filled, and she told me, oh yeah, some guy from Texas is working there now. Tom Ford.
Well, your first collection then was picked up by 30 retailers, including Bergdorf Goodman, Neiman Marcus, and other very large department stores. Were you surprised by the success?
Yeah, I mean, shocked. And I didn't know how to ship them. I mean, like, I have all these orders, and how do I get them made? I had no idea. So I had to learn how to produce the garment and ship them, and all this like happened by
You had
surprise.
To hire a staff right away to help
No,
you?
I
Or
mean,
no,
I was
you
doing
did it all
that,
yourself?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
my
a lot of
goodness.
work, yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Then by 1992, though, Vogue had you on its cover, right? And,
Yeah, it happened so fast, yeah.
And then mega stars like Sharon Stone and Madonna were wearing it in vanity
Yeah.
photo shoots. I mean, was that kind of your moment when you said, you know what, I might have made it, or I made it now? Is that what you would consider to be a highlight of your career thus far?
Only when I look back. At that time, it was just what was happening. I
Right.
just did not analyze what was happening and what a big deal it was. I mean, it was a huge deal, but it was just something that was happening to me, and I had so many problems and very busy working, so I never like had a chance to sit back and say, oh wow, I made it. I never had that kind of moment, just like, you know, getting things done. You know,
Of course, this industry moves so quickly.
it's very busy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I work all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, all the time. I mean,
Sure.
usually I go home around 10 o'clock at night, and I'm
Wow.
here at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my
But,
goodness.
you know, I like it. You know, it's fun. Yeah.
How did you become so technically advanced, proficient at making clothes? Where did you train and learn that technique?
Oh, just by making a lot of mistakes. Yeah, in the beginning, when I was very, very successful, I had a lot of people working for me, and they did all the technical stuff, and I just go there once in a while to oversee what they're doing.
Sure.
But now, after I downsized my business and moved down to Soho, I was doing a lot of things myself. So I taught myself how to drape, how to make
Wow.
patterns, and figured out how the garment should be constructed. And I
Sure.
go to stores and look at other people inside. You know, when I go to store, I'm looking inside of the clothes.
That's incredible.
And learn
Yes.
learn the creativity that goes inside of the garment to make the garment work.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of clever people out there making beautiful clothes, and to study what goes on inside is really fascinating. and that makes outside look good. I'm still learning, you know. Now I feel like I can say I know how to make clothes.
That's great. I mean, you really do straddle both the creativity and the technical part of it, and
Yeah.
do it so beautifully. Now, in the 1990s, GEMMA KAHNG disappeared from the scene for a while. What
Yeah.
happened there?
Toward the mid to late 90s, right? I think everything just happened so fast, and I was so unprepared, and I didn't know how to run the business end of my company. Like money and those things was never my priority. There was some struggle there. You know, I hired too many people. I didn't really have a financial plan. I just went without a map, and that's very dangerous. I learned my lesson.
GEMMA KAHNG used to make $6 million a year, but now her line is in the red.
I had it all, but something went wrong.
If the buyers from Kierna Zabet purchase a few pieces from her new collection, it could resurrect her business.
I added the fur jacket, making a coat.
So I added things that goes with the rest of the things that I already did.
Can I see the bomber jacket, please?
It's absolutely wonderful.
It's exquisite. I mean, that is so special.
Yes, absolutely. We want it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Josie. When's the first time you met Joe?
Oh, Josie was assistant editor at Allure magazine, and that was when I was really hot. So they were borrowing my suit to shoot for their editorial all the time, and he was just an assistant, and he used to admire the things that I was making. And then after a few years later, he joined the W magazine, and then eventually he became the fashion director of W magazine. So he became a very important person for this magazine, which is like really one of my favorite magazines.
Yes.
So we were working together a lot. He would always choose to feature me. And we would hang out sometimes, you know, go to restaurants and things like that. So I was very successful, and he was my editor. We were like always very glamorous and all that. And then last year, before this show, I was not here. I was at a very small studio down the street, 36th Street, inside of a costume company. I rented a little room, like 500 square feet, and trying to get back on my feet. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was still trying.
Yeah, sure.
And he was filming a designer that was next door, and I didn't know that. And I went to the bathroom, and he comes out of the bathroom. I said, oh my God. And I was like so embarrassed. Josie cannot see me here in this small place. Because when I knew him, I was at 557th Avenue with Ralph Lauren and Donna Karan, you know, everything was very fancy. And I was so shocked, and he was so shocked to see me. I just said hello quickly and went away. And the next day, I got an email from the producer, and he explained to me about this show. And he said, Josie saw you, and he thinks you're the perfect person to be featured on this show. What do you think? And I thought about it. I mean, you know, I don't have to think that hard. Oh, yeah, sure. Like National TV, Sundance Channel, why not, you know?
I loved that episode.
Yeah.
Really, it was
episode.
fantastic. And you were so humble and very sincere, and really listened to Josie and took his advice to heart. And it transformed. We could see the transformation happening all throughout that show.
He really cared about my career.
Yes.
And he's a very smart man.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he is. And he was
He's
very
brilliant.
sweet.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have no reason not to listen to him. You know,
Yes.
we are working together with the same goal. And,
Sure.
and I need help. At the time, you know, when I was very successful, I was like really snob. But, you know, right now I have to change that.
Well, we know that the public reception to the show has been amazing, and Julia Roberts saw it and gave you a call. I
Yeah, I think she is friendly with Josie, and she wanted to wear that outfit, and she wore it to David Letterman show. It was just like a dream come true. Yeah, and she looked so beautiful.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
A scene from the show where Josie comes in and he says to you that, you know, you hadn't seen each other a long time, but you had told him that every season, you were still creating a collection.
Yeah.
Even though you said sometimes nobody would even be seeing it.
Yeah, that's true,
And nobody
yeah.
would buy it. But every season, like clockwork, I mean, that was your passion.
For years,
Yeah,
yeah.
for years, you kept
Uh-huh.
making the
Yeah.
collections as they are.
Yeah, I had ideas, and I always feel like next season something's gonna happen. So I kept doing it, and I have lookbooks every season. I work with this great photographer, and every season he shoots my lookbook, and you know, I have them all in the box.
And in many ways, you know, this resurrection, this second life of GEMMA KAHNG is even more impressive. That you have, you know, succeeded, and here you are back again in full force. So we're very proud and excited to see.
Yeah,
what's
I
going to
appreciate
happen.
it a lot
Yes.
more this time. Well, I'm not there yet, but you know, I feel some potential now. Finally, after all these years. So yeah, it feels good.
Let's talk about your fashion now. What inspires you, and how would you define your sensibility, your aesthetic?
Let's see. I don't know. That's a lot of things.
Sure.
I have to think about. I always look for ideas, and I always try to make women look beautiful. I mean, you know, I think a lot of women either don't care or don't know how to bring out their best features, and sometimes you just need a little push to make them from just ordinary to stunning.
You brought out Estee Lauder's quote. Can you just repeat that?
Oh
for the
yeah,
audience?
there's no such a thing as ugly woman, only the lazy ones. That is so right.
I love
mean,
that.
Yeah, I mean we know. I mean right now we are like, made up and all that, but you know, some wake up in the morning, ooh. We need to work on it. We need to work on our hair. We need to work on, you know, our body, and it's a lot of work.
Men
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
As we look around, I see you have several interns that work for you. And
Oh,
they're
yeah.
aspiring fashion designers, I'm sure. So, what kind of advice would you give to future young aspiring fashion designers?
Well, they have to make sure this is what they wanted to do. If you're not sure, maybe try it out and see what happens. Then it's not going to happen. I think you have to be completely devoted. You know, even with that much devotion, it's still not enough. You have to have so much talent. I mean, you have to know what you're offering that other people aren't offering. There's so many designers. You know, how is your woman different from someone else? You know, and it's very subtle for most people who is not very sensitive to fashion. It all look the same. You know, my brother would say, you know, all look the same, you know, but there are huge differences between this designer and that designer. It's different sensibility. See, my woman is a little bit more bohemian. It's not as stuffy as the other designer. I think maybe there's a little bit of sense of humor. They're more down to earth in a way, but at the same time, they're just as glamorous, but they are a little more laid back. I mean, it's me, you know. I'm kind of laid back. I don't like things that are too stuffy. I like to be free. So I think I showed that in my clothes. I think that's one of the differences that I have. And also I do things that are very hard to make that nobody wants to do.
We had talked a little bit about you wanting to give back a little bit more to the Korean American community. Can you share with us in what ways you think you may be able to do that?
I don't really have a chance to reach out to Korean community, but I like to be involved more, and especially if it's for a good cause. You know, I'm Korean 100%, and I'm very proud of it. And besides, it's very cool to be Korean these days. Very trendy. Yeah, so if I have a chance, if I know how, I would be very much like to be involved.
Great.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Gemma. We're very proud and
Thank you so
delighted
much.
to see
Tremendous
what you're doing.
pleasure. And we've learned so much. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.